Back to my channel, and today we're going to look at a classic Chinese American dish, sesame chicken. Now there's many variations of the dish, but I hope you like this recipe that I grew up with, so give it a try. For this recipe, we're going to be using about 1 pound of chicken thighs. You can also use chicken breast to make it a little bit healthier, but the chicken thighs are a little bit more tastier. So alright, we're going to cut them up into 1-inch cubes. Now we're going to pre-marinate these chicken thighs to make it even tastier. For the marinade, we're going to add about a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon and a half of soy sauce, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 egg. We're going to take out good old chopsticks and mix it all up. Now we're going to let this sit in the refrigerator and marinate for about 40 minutes. Now the baking soda is absolutely critical for breaking and tenderizing the chicken. So we're going to let this sit in the fridge. While our chicken is marinated, let's go ahead and start with the batter. For this, we need about a half a cup of flour, half a cup of cornstarch, half a cup of water, and 1 egg. Now I'm going to give that a good mix. And we'll put that in the fridge. Now let's talk about the sesame chicken sauce. The basic components of the sesame chicken sauce compose of your soy sauce, your sugar, and your vinegar. So what I like to do is dissolve the sugars first. Now for the sugar, you can use either a mixture of brown sugar, white sugar, or a mixture of honey. For here, I got 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. I like to mix this first, dissolve the sugar, because the last thing you need to do is fiddle around with the undissolved sugar while you're cooking. Give that a good mix beforehand. This is 1/4 cup of soy sauce. A half a cup of rice vinegar. And about 3 tablespoons of ketchup. And about a tablespoon of sesame oil. I'm going to give that a good swirl and make sure everything is incorporated. You also need 2 cloves of garlic and about 1/8 teaspoon of hot pepper. This is totally optional if you want a little heat. And also we need about 2 teaspoons of cornstarch dissolved in 2 teaspoons of water. Now when we cook this, it's going to depend on the consistency of the sauce to tell whether we need all of this. So don't add this all at once. So 45 minutes later, we have both of them marinated. So we're going to just basically toss the chicken thigh into the batter and give it a good swirl. Alright, we're ready to deep fry. Now to achieve the crispy sesame chicken, we're going to deep fry it twice. That's the trick to it. So we're going to double fry the chicken thighs at 350 for approximately 5 minutes in the first run, and then about another 3 minutes to 5 minutes for the second run. So, here we go. So usually what I do, I take some chopsticks and lower them one by one. We're going to cook them in batches and toss a couple in. We don't want to overwhelm the oil. Once you drop it in the oil, you don't want to disturb it. Just let it cook for 2 minutes. And already you can see that the batter is already fluffing up, and that's what we want to get that nice crunchy taste and feel from the sesame chicken. If any of the chicken pieces are sticking to the palm, after 2 minutes, you can start breaking it up and mixing it around. So after 5 minutes, it should look slightly yellowish or to a little darkish brown. And we just pull them out. So this is what the first batch looks like after the first deep frying, after 5 minutes for each batch. And now we're going to deep fry it again for a second time for another 3 minutes. So here we go. Now I love to cook it a second time because it gives the batter a nice crispy flavor. So when you start to mix it with your sauce, the batter doesn't just completely collapse on itself. This way, when you cook it, deep fry a second time, it firms up the batter and the chicken. So it gives the chicken a nice crispy feel. Alright, we're going to cook this for another 3 minutes. And be sure to check your temperature that it's around 350. After 3 minutes, it should considerably darken by a couple of shades. So we're going to take this out and put everything together. Oil the pan. Turn back the oil down. And then we're going to toss in our garlic and hot pepper. And let that sizzle. You don't want to overburn it. If it does, just toss your Shaoxing. Next, you want to incorporate your sesame sauce mixture. I'm going to heat this up to boil off all the water until it gets to a nice syrupy consistency. Right now you can see that the sauce thickened a little bit. And right now we're about ready to toss in our chicken. So grab your chicken and toss it in. So take your cornstarch and toss in about half of it first. See how well it thickens up. There's usually an estimated guess, but it seems like half of the cornstarch I use is just the right amount. You don't really want to over thicken the sauce. If it does, you add some water to loosen it up. And that's what we're basically looking for. Not too runny, not overly thick. Oh, this is absolutely delicious. Let's look at the sesame chicken. Don't forget to sprinkle sesame seed generously all over your chicken. Now this is totally optional. You could garnish it with some scallions to fancy up the presentation, but it's just for presentation sakes. Now I hope you enjoyed this recipe. There's many variations of this dish and there's no right or wrong. If there's any one change I would make to this dish to get it even more crunchier is to substitute the all-purpose flour for potato starch and do the double fry method to give it even more crunchier taste. If you like this recipe, hit the like button, and if you want to see more contents like this, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys like or don't like. And if you tried out this recipe, put in the section below. I'd like to see how your recipe come out. And if you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, put in the section below. And like always, peace out and happy cooking. Until next time.